Okay, so here's my DawnGate jungle guide for beginners, and what I'm gonna suggest taking a shaper like I'm doing right now is Voluc. He is really easy to play because he has no skill shots, he has like really simple spells, and he is like tier 1 to tier 2 jungler. And what you want to do is pick 2 health potions and hunger and head out to first blue buff, aka the haste buff. This haste buff gives you like attack speed and other things that Voluc really need. And after that, when you're done with the blue buff, you want to start clearing the camps nearby you. Also, I would like to remind you that using Vanquish only on the big buff creeps, because this will increase your clearing rate quite a lot. You have to be really optimal in the jungle which jungle paths you choose, because if you choose a bad route, you're just gonna waste a lot of time teleporting back or going from another corner to another corner, and this is not really optimal play to play the jungle. You have to be saving a lot of time and you have to be around your team, able to make a counter gank or protect a spirit well. After this you should get the green buff. Green buff gives 15 power and also increases the total power by 10%. This is really good startup for jungles like Kel and Freya if you want to do like a level 2 gank, which they're really good at. But for Voluc, I just farm in the jungle to get the best items and then just crush everybody. So for a Voluc kind of playstyle, I wouldn't suggest taking this as a second, but also I would take it for the reason because it increases my clearing time, and also I don't want enemy jungle to steal it. Then we go to money bigs, which are not a buff actually, but they are the creeps on the jungle which give highest win reward by defeating them. They're actually a bit strong too, so you need a smite for the bigger one. And these are actually on the so-called borders of the enemy and allied side, so these are most likely to be contested through the game, so you have to protect them and do them early because otherwise the enemy are going to steal them. Lastly, we got our final buff, which is the orange buff, aka the armor buff, which gives 20 armor and gives you 1% damage reduction upon dealing damage, and this will stack 10 times. And this is suitable for tank jungles like Kel, Voluc and Desecrator, and it's like optimal for diving people under bindings or tanking bindings. Next, I'll be talking about the jungle objectives. These are really important so you can ensure the victory on your team. The first one being, you have to be optimal with your time on the jungle. You have to choose the best route that will give you best experience and the best win in a certain amount of time. This is a lot of affected by which loadout and which starting items you will choose. Also, always pick hunter in the jungle. The secondary thing is map control. When you have a stronger or weaker jungle as the enemy, you have to ward either your middle map so you're able to see if they're gonna counter jungle, or you're gonna ward the enemy jungle so you're able to see where he is going and you may be able to counter gank or kill him in the jungle or steal his buffs. You have to also protect your own buffs. Also, what is really important of the map control is the bindings and also spirit wells. Spirit wells open at 10 minutes. You have to protect them or invade the other spirit wells if you have a stronger jungler. The last point is the lanes. When lanes need ganks, you should always punish people for overextending, especially on the new map which is coming soon. You're able to punish people for overextending. The next thing is, when your own team are going to teleport, you should always push the lane and shove the creeps out of it. So last part of this tutorial is to talk about a bit of the best jungles in the game currently and the best loadouts in the game. So in tier 1 we got Kel and Moya. Kel is, his kit is so OP, so his ganking is very strong. And this is why he will be always viable if the numbers are bring down. As long as the kit exists, he's gonna be viable. As for Moya, lifesteal, got good clear rates, high mobility, good. Petrus is okay, good clear rate. I don't like his cap closer. Voluc, really high sustain. on the jungle, never dies there. And Freya is cool too. As for tier 3, these kinda already suck kinda. So we got Cerulean, pretty good, pretty good. Rhina is fine. Desecrator is actually, in my opinion, tier 2. This is actually taken from MOBA Champions, so it's not really my tier list, but as I'm not really an expert jungler, I don't want to give insight of a pro or someone who acts like a pro. But I think Desecrator is kind of tier 2. He's clear and may not be that good, but his ganks are so good. As for Renzo, he's okay, and Kindra, yeah. I think Kindra needs lane to get more win. And everything on tier 4 and tier 5 are trash. Why? Because they're ranged. And just their kits are not really good for jungle, and it seems like their clearing rate is substantially like worse than the others. So this jungler tier list is pretty precise. Salus is missing from this. I think he's around tier 2 or tier 3. As for the loadouts, I picked 5 best ones. There was actually maybe 7 viable, but I think there's the 5 best. So Brawler gives armor and magic resistance. This is for tanks. The health boost is really good. Adventurer, really good for like assassins who want to run to the brush or come from the brush. I don't know how the buff exists after you enter out of the brush, but I don't know. Force Bubble is good because the magic resistance and the bubble is good for tanks too. Bulwark is good for tanks. Bravado is good for tanks. So this is the guide. Hope you liked it. Please subscribe. Please like the video. Please share it. I'm out. And more guides of DawnGate coming pretty soon. Stay tuned.